We got the truth, we come from rich stock. That's on my tribe, I never flip-flop. Like kingdom come, now watch it TikTok. We got this truth and now we rich up. We headed back up to the tip top. Menorah golden, watch it drip drop. We in the hood, but now we rich up. Yeah. My folks stayed in the Hoovers, I was born in the trades. I was raised in the hundreds, but I ain't never joined the gang. Affiliated, I was with it, I ain't played no games. Wasn't banging, but I had to show I ain't no lame. Copperworth Entertainment, yeah, I did my thing. Until I woke up to this truth and found out we still slaves. Niggas killing over colors, time to rise up for our brothers. Time to unify our hustles, time to lead our baby mothers out to lay like Nazareth. I was raised up out the gutter, for the homies I got locked up, not a word I never uttered. So for Yasharahla, yeah, you best believe I'll die. This ain't Christianity, you best believe I'll ride. Brothers, yeah, we rich shock. We got the truth, we come from rich stock. That's on my tribe, I never flip-flop. Like kingdom come, now watch it TikTok. We got this truth and now we rich up. We headed back up to the tip top.
We rich.
Menorah golden, watch it drip drop. We in the hood, but now we rich up. Yeah.
Reclining my seats, I'm looking at the stars. Not too long ago was blowing kush about the car. Always wanted fame until I found the 12 stars. But now a nigga rich, the wisdom got me hella far. Looking back on my life, this shit is so surreal. Like I came up on the lotto, how a nigga feel. Keep the law as the motto, now tell me what's the deal. Riding smooth, diamond chain, compliment the wheels. Yeah, that's how we pull up fly. If my brothers got an issue, then I bet I ride. Even if I take a loss, you can bet I try. Cause I'ma get a couple off, and that's before I die.
Brothers, yeah, we rich shock. We got the truth, we come from rich stock. That's on my tribe, I never flip-flop. Like kingdom come, now watch it TikTok. We got this truth and now we rich up. We headed back up to the tip top. Menorah golden, watch it drip drop. We in the hood, but now we rich up. Yeah.
It's so cold in these streets, I take the heat outside. I keep a sword like Cephas, just believe I might. Ain't an army on this earth that can see these tribes. Dressed in warlike apparel, best believe we fly. It's time to get the doctrine right, it's time to feed these sheep. What we sowing to each other, that's what we gon' reap. Shit, you niggas claim you bout that life. Some niggas banging for the set, but I'm an Israelite. He full of pride and full of shit, then I'ma cut him on sight. IQ ain't never gotta tell me twice. I'm a soldier for Christ, and Mashiach the king is not to be mocked. I love my nation, but 2/3 of y'all can still get popped. Blah.
Desire one Ariala. Yashamai. Yasharahla.
least I'm still here, 'cause you got to hold on. Don't you get weak, you can hold on. You're gonna make it. Be strong. You don't have to cry. Hold on. We can make it. Hold on. Hold on. Be strong. Hold on. Hold on. Be strong. Yeah. 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 'Cause he said in his word. Hold on. Cast your cares upon him. Hold on. Hold on. Be strong. We can make it. Hold on. Hold on. You can make it. Hold on. Gotta believe it. Be strong. Keep the faith. Keep the faith. Just hold on. Hold on. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hold on. Yeah. Be strong. We can make it.
Not the yeah. Smooth shit. Yeah. Pull up the block spinning. New ride and my girlfriend's master presidential inside.
Yeah.
Ray-Bans on my eyes. Weed and brews in charge. I don't know why they still be looking surprised. Add fuel to my fire, take it higher than they ever seen. My life a movie and I'm living out the best scenes. They call me cocky, in reality I'm confident. And every night we taking shots to our accomplishments.
Cheers.
A lot of food, put it on my plate. And baby pressing not to tell her to wait. She see the signs of the times and the world is so boring. I'd rather pull out the old schools and new foreigns. Tell me what you want, I'll tell you what you need. Them other niggas stuck, Bruce took the lead. I'm teaching on them streets that I used to run. And afterwards chilling with my Aki on. What's up? Jake's claiming that they own. And they crew is legit. Yeah. I see the things that they doing when they do it, but they don't do it like this.
Not at all.
Niggas say that they the bomb, and they really be lit.
What?
I see the things that they doing when they do it, but they don't do it like this. Straight game, money over fame. Put it in accounts, double the amount on some Oprah shit. On occasion we be toasting, and what I'm sipping now the same color as the ocean is. Ride slow with the beat up, sister got her feet up. Head wrap with a skirt on when we meet up. It's really a play, my vibe reading South Central LA. And yeah, we got it cracking from the streets to the bay. All praises to Yahweh when I kneel and I pray, knowing it's all good. I teach truth and spread light in the hood, doing exactly what we want, they only do what they could. Common sense is genius dressed in this working clothes. It's like I work and work more, y'all just working clothes. A lot of bad attitudes and some broken souls. The city of fallen angels, guess that's how it goes.
Damn.
Jake's claiming that they own. And they crew is legit.
I bet.
I see the things that they doing when they do it, but they don't do it like this. Niggas say that they the bomb, and they really be lit. I see the things that they doing when they do it, but they don't do it like this.
True Nation.
I just gotta let you know that you've been so good to me. And I know that I can't do it by myself. I need your love so desperately. It's been times I wanted to give up, but your words, they spoke to me. Fill my spirit, help me to believe, but
Sometimes I still get weak.
I need you to fill me up, fill me up, until I overflow, overflow. Keep her on my way. I need you to fill me up, fill me up. I need your love always, so I won't go astray. The keeper of my way. I know you know my thoughts, I know you know my flaws. Your love fills up every empty part of me that was hiding for so long. The love of my life, now I've evolved. I wanna be what you want, and by your strength I'll break down every wall. I need you to fill me up, fill me up, until I overflow, overflow. The keeper of my way, the keeper of my way. I need you to fill me up, fill me up. I need you, I need your love always, so I won't go astray. The keeper of my way. Can I get a witness? If you hear me say, if you feel me say,
If you feel me, say yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let me hear you say yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I need you to fill me up, fill me up,
Fill me up.
until I overflow, overflow. The keeper of my way.
Keeper of my way.
I need you to fill me up, fill me up.
Lord, I need you.
I need your love always, so I won't go astray. The keeper of my way.
Keeper of my way. You're the keeper of my way.
Yeah, this goes out to all my sisters. Keeping the faith.
Jimmy on the beat, boy.
I got all my sisters with me. No hating, envy, or jealousy. Every time we roll deep. Cause I got all my sisters with me.
Where you at? Where y'all at? It's time to come correct. All my sisters, let's connect. Look, Aqua, you ain't gotta lack. No weapon formed against us gonna prosper, that's a fact. Plus, say my soul got your back. When that devil in your ear, better relax, don't react. We the pillars, we the crowns, we gon' hold our brothers down. Proverbs 31, rapping till we hear that trumpet sound. What? Sisters of virtue. Don't let this cold world divert you. We the Judas, we Hadassah, we Deborah, we Susanna, we the keepers of our sisters and his laws. It's time to stand up.
I got all my sisters with me. S.O.V. No hating, envy, or jealousy. S.O.V. Every time we roll deep. S.O.V. Cause I got all my sisters with me.
Yeah.
I remember when I lost my babies. My girls were there to hold me down. She said, dry your eyes, I know what you're going through.
Let me fix your crown.
It's gonna be alright.
She's so beautiful and original, not your average chick on me. She come from royalty and it's purity. She rock with S.O.V.
I got all my sisters with me. S.O.V. No hating, envy, or jealousy. S.O.V. Every time we roll deep. Cause I got all my sisters with me. S-O-V.
Yeah, TNIC, SOV. This is a virtue. We in the building, y'all.
S-O-V.
Shut up, Mark.
Sisters, I appreciate you for this one. Let's go ahead and show them how Israel get down. In the chariot, and you know that it got me. Feeling so good, that's all I need. We got the family in place, y'all. Drinks getting poured, see the looks on our face, y'all. It's going up. In the chariot, and you know that it got me. Feeling so good, that's all I need. At the feast, getting right. We waiting for the kingdom, but it's finna be a hell of a night, yeah.
Long week, so I pull up. A branding on my wrist when I show up. Fingers and my toes on buff. Take my time, listen up, so I'm late showing up. I throw my body on the floor. Watch got the ice, so mixing up. It's all love, cause it's all us. Color lights on, got me feeling glowed up. It's giving vibes tonight. Everybody's looking right. Bodies on the floor. It's going up, let's go. It's a family affair. On and on and on till the break of dawn. And in the kingdom to come. It's a family affair. On and on and on till the break of dawn. And in the kingdom to come.
All the fam is there. Not everybody understands the way that we go up, the way that we show up. It's always good vibes. Kahanas on the grill, slapping bones until the table tilts. Spiritual conversation, I'm gaining wisdom, it's all good. We got the bishops in the house tonight. The kids are acting right. I can only imagine what it would be like when we get home.
It's giving vibes tonight. Everybody's looking right. Bodies on the floor. It's going up, let's go. It's a family affair. On and on and on till the break of dawn. And in the kingdom to come. It's a family affair. On and on and on till the break of dawn. And in the kingdom
As soon as we pull up, you know what's going down. It's a family affair, baby, so come around. Kick back and take a shot with the team. It's a vibe with the tribe sitting on cloud 9, feeling like a dream. So fly and exclusive. With the fam, big friends with the blue strip. Real love, got the spirit right. This one for the books, we going up and we ain't ending tonight.
It's a family affair. On and on and on till the break of dawn. And in the kingdom to come. It's a family affair. On and on till the break of dawn. And in the kingdom to come.
All right. Shalom, shalom, Israel, to the 12 tribes scattered abroad. This brother Kanash, to my left.
Aman Allah.
Aman Allah, all praises. We're here with another Bible Basics, right? We have our Bible Basics every Tuesday. Tomorrow we'll have our world history. Thursday, stick to the script. And then we'll have, of course, our opening Sabbath class Friday. Y'all tune in. That takes place at 7:30. Then we have our closing Sabbath class, Feed the Sheep, at 4:30 in the afternoon. So make sure you guys tune in. But tonight is a Bible Basics, right? And the title of the lesson is called Polygyny According to the Bible, right? Polygyny according to the Bible, right? So some would think, well, you would think the way that our people deal with this subject that it's not a Bible basic, but it is, because it's in the basics of the law, right? Is not a law saying that you have to have multiple wives, but there's laws on how you should deal in a multiple wife situation, or a polygynous relationship, right? So first and foremost, when you come into this truth, there's layers that you have to pull off day in and day out, right? Paul said that you have to die daily of yourself and do the things that the Most High would have you do, right? When people come into this truth, they deal with, different various of spirits, whether it be fornication, idolatry, whether it be covetousness, envy, strife, brawling, all the things that the scriptures say that are not of the spirit. When you come in, you have to continue to shave those layers off, right? And knowing where we've come from as far as slavery, we see that it's systematic and programming that's put on our people to think a certain way and to be a certain way in this society, right, in this place called America, right? So when we look to the east and we look to other countries, right, it's practiced and it's well known in those countries that men have multiple wives and they deal in those situations on a day-to-day, right? And then just knowing that, we've been slaves in America and we've been programmed to think a certain way, our sisters have a problem with this. They have a serious problem with this, and they don't want to get, for lack of better words, with the program, right? So let me get Ephesians. Hold on one second. Let me get Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 23. Let me get there. So remember, coming into the truth, we have to continue to renew our minds, right? We have to continue to shave off the layers. We have to continue to die to self, right? We have to, do what the Most High say is according to his Bible. So if it's lawful, it's lawful. There's nothing we can speak against it. There's nothing we can say against it at all, right? Get Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 23.
And be renewed in the spirit of your mind.
Right? Be renewed in the spirit of your mind, right? Read.
And that ye put on the new man.
And you put on the new man, so you should be dying daily, putting on the new man, putting on the new things that the Most High would have you do or will have you submit to, right? And putting on those old things that we've done in the world, right? Like fornication, lasciviousness, lust of the flesh, lust of the eye, right? Chasing the bag to no avail, worshiping money instead of worshiping God, right? He said you have to put on the new man, right? Read.
On the new man, which after God is created in righteousness and true holiness.
Right. So we have to be renewed and we have to, read that again, Salakia.
And be renewed in the spirit of your mind, and that ye put on the new man, which after God is created in righteousness.
Right, which after God is created in righteousness. And we know through that, being a new man that's created in righteousness, what do we have to do?
Follow his commandments.
Follow the commandments. It's very simple, right? That's why this subject is on Bible basics. This is basic and this is real simple. Give me 2 Corinthians chapter 4 and verse 16. Let's read that. 2 Corinthians chapter 4 and verse 6. Hold on, let me get there. 2 Corinthians chapter 4. Yeah, go ahead.
For which cause we faint not, but though our outward man perish, yet the inward man is renewed day by day.
Right? The outward man is perished and we're renewed day by day, right? So as men, We're not going out doing the things that we did in the world. We're not sleeping with various different chicks, right? And just being the so-called player, right, that the world will have us be, that the world praise, right? But being a righteous man and taking on, you know, these various women and doing right by them, right? So we can't act in lust and lasciviousness and the lust of the flesh. We can't act in that no more, right? We have to do things that are righteous according to the law, right? So let's go to Genesis. Let's start at Genesis, because I want to set a foundation, you know, as far as for my sisters and what the Most High would have you do, right? So let's go to Genesis chapter 4, and let's read verse 19. Salakia. Genesis chapter 3, and let's read verse 16, right? Go ahead.
Genesis 3 and 16. Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception.
Right, so the Most High said he's going to multiply the woman's sorrow and conception. Why? Because of the things that were committed, the transgressions that were committed against the Most High God in the garden, right? Read.
In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children.
In sorrow the woman shall bring forth children, right? Read.
And thy desire shall be to thy husband.
And her desire will be to her husband. So anything, because when you know anything about Adam and Eve, when Eve convinced Adam to partake of the fruit from the tree of good and evil, right? She, in so many words, gained that control, and the Most High was putting that back in order. Like, the woman is not the ruler. The man is the ruler, and the woman is the possession, right? Read. So it says that her desire, right? Her desire shall be towards her husband, right? Go sit down and don't get up now. Right? So her desire shall be towards her husband. And everything that her husband wants and everything that she wants to be shall be centered around her husband and doing the things that her husband would want her to do. And her desire should be full of life towards that. It shouldn't be no malice, no wickedness, and no envy towards what she do, or any grudge, right? Or anything bad towards her desiring what her husband wants, right? Read.
And he shall rule over thee.
And he shall rule over thee, right? Now, this is saying that the woman, you're the man's possession, right? I'm gonna prove that furthermore. Let's get Sirach 36, or Ecclesiasticus 36 and verse 22. So a lot of sisters have a problem with that. Like, I'm nobody's possession, but the scriptures say that you are, right? And we have to understand why the Most High said this, right? The Most High said that the man, he's the leader and he's the guide. The woman, she's the weaker vessel. The man is stronger than the woman, right? So I'm going to help you understand why you are his possession, right? Read. Sirach 36, and let's start from verse 22.
22. The beauty of a woman cheereth the countenance, and a man loveth nothing better.
Right? So men, we love beautiful women, right? Read. And there's nothing more that cheers the countenance of a man, being around a righteous, beautiful woman, right? Read.
If there be kindness, meekness, and comfort in her tongue, then is not her husband like other men.
Right? So if there be kindness, right? Meekness, right? So first it starts with the countenance, but then it talks about her character, right? If there be kindness, meekness, comfort in her tongue, then is not her husband like other men, right? Her husband is not walking around bitter, right? Her husband is walking around with his chest poked out like, man, I feel like the greatest man in the world because I have this woman, right? Read.
He that getteth a wife beginneth a possession.
He that getteth wife beginneth what?
Beginneth a possession.
Beginneth a what?
A possession.
A possession, right? Let's look up that definition, possession. You got your phone? I'll look it up right here.
Cool.
Hold on 1 second. Because remember, we're talking about a woman, right? A woman to a man. She's his possession. Let's look it up, right? The state of having or owning or controlling something, right? An item of property, something belonging to one. So, a woman is literally that man's possession. She belongs to him. That is his possession, right? And there's nothing wrong with that, right? Let's finish reading.
Like a help like unto himself.
And he has a help like unto himself, right? Because as a man, as a leader of the community, that man is also a help and a servant to his nation. So that woman being a help like unto him is one and the same because they're both dealing in their perspective roles, right? Read.
And a pillar of rest.
And a pillar of rest. Read.
Where no hedges.
Where no hedges, right? Where there's not a gate. Where there's not a guard, right? Where there's not anything to protect your goods or your possessions, right? Read.
There the possession is spoiled.
Then the possession is spoiled. If you don't have a hedge around your possession, that means that anybody could come in and spoil you, right? So a woman not having a head or a leader or some authoritative figure around her, Satan can easily come in, right, and spoil her, right? We know this by war, right? When kingdoms war against each other, the first thing that they do,
captives.
They destroy the men, right? They defeat the men, and what do they do to the women and children?
Captive.
They take them captive, right? And in most cases, women don't want, in all cases, women don't want to be in that type of situation. So when you want to buck against, oh, I'm not his possession, I'm not this, I'm not that, you are. And if you're saying that you're not, okay, well, you can go out in that world and be by yourself and see who protects you from men who are evil and disgusting, right? Because we have that in the world, right? Was that it? No. Read.
And a pillar of rest. Where and he that hath no wife will wander up and down mourning.
You're in 24, yeah. Okay. No, 25.
25. Where no hedges, there the possession is spoiled, and he that hath no wife will wander up and down mourning.
Right? And he that has no wife will run up and down mourning, right? Let's go to Exodus to furthermore prove that a wife is a man's possession. And it's a good thing. Sisters don't have to look at it as a burden. Your man is here to protect you, right? And if he has a righteous brotherhood around him and he's not acting accordingly to his possession, then that brother's going to get checked, right? But there's laws that protect our women in these certain type of situations. Let's go to Exodus chapter 20. You there? Yeah. Okay. No. I don't need that one. Right, no. Exodus 20 and verse 17.
Exodus 20 and 17.
Go ahead.
Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house.
Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house, right? Because your neighbor's house is his what? It's his possession, right? Read.
Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife.
Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, right? Because his wife is his possession, right? Read.
Nor his manservant.
Nor his manservant, that is his possession. Read.
Nor his maidservant.
Nor his maidservant, This is his possession, right? Read.
Nor his ox,
Nor his ox,
nor his ass,
nor his ass, his donkey, right? Read.
nor anything that is thy neighbor's.
Nor anything that is thy neighbor's. All these things that the Most High listed, that is your neighbors, that is his possession. Those are his possession, including his wife, right? Let's go to Numbers. Let's go to Numbers. You know what? I don't need that, right? Let's go to the law. So remember, ladies, the Most High set you to be a helpmeet to that man, and when that man getteth a wife, he beginneth a possession. You are his possession, right? And any man who has any type of valuable possessions, he is not going to do them wrong, or he is not going to do them harm, or you know, any type of malice or wickedness, right? If a man has gold or any type of precious diamonds or jewelry, he's not going to leave it out in the front of his door or in the street for anybody to just get it, right? So remember, ladies, you are a man's possession, and he should deal accordingly with you, right? So let's get Exodus chapter 21, and let's read verse 10. And like I said, there's not a law saying that a man has to have multiple wives, but if a man does have multiple wives, if he decides to practice polygyny, right, he is not wrong for that, right? He is practicing his God-given right, to do what thus says the Lord, right? Let's read that. Exodus chapter 21, and let's read verse 10.
If he take him another wife, her
Salakia. Yeah, go ahead. Read that.
never mind. If he take him another wife,
If a man do what?
if he take him another wife,
If he take him another wife, right? If he has a wife, or he has 2 wives or 3 wives, right? If he just take him one wife. But the scripture said, if he take him another wife, right? What shall he do?
her food,
Her food, right? Read.
her raiment,
Her raiment
and her duty
and her duty,
of marriage,
right? Read.
he shall not diminish.
He shall not diminish. Meaning that this man has to provide her with food, shelter, right? And he has to commit to this woman, right? And he shall not diminish that, right? So a man can't just go out, have sex with a woman, right? And not take her in as his wife. Because thus says the law, right? Read.
Exodus 22:16. And if a man entice a maid that is not betrothed,
Right.
and lie with her,
Right.
he
Read.
shall surely endow her to be his wife.
He shall surely endow her to be his wife. So it ain't no willy-nilly going out here just having sex with women and not taking care of them. Right? The law is made to protect us. Right? And when we hold our brothers to this standard and to this law, and that's why brothers running around saying that sex is not marriage, because they want to go out here and hit females, right? Or hit sisters in the truth, or whatever, or hit sisters in the world, and not take them on as his possession. That's wickedness. That's fornication, right? You're causing her to commit adultery because more than likely she's going to go out there and go sleep with another man, right? So the Bible says, which protects our sister, which protects your sisters if you love them. If he take another wife, her food, her raiment, and her duty of marriage shall he not diminish. Right? From there, let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 21, and let's read verse 15.
Deuteronomy 21:15. If a man have 2 wives,
If a man has 2 wives, this is a law. This is all in. That's why when you come into this truth, you have to get solidified with the law. You have to know what you're getting yourself into. Because these are, without a shadow of a doubt, this is what must happen. And you can't go away from that. You can't stray from that. You have to stay steadfast on this law, right? Read.
Has 2 wives, one beloved.
One beloved, right? Because that happens, right? Jacob, he loved Rachel more than he loved Leah, right? Read.
And another hated.
And the other one hated, not meaning that he just despises her, but he just has more favor towards the one that he loves, right? But the man has to deal righteous in the situation. Read.
And they have borne him children.
And they have borne him children, right? Read.
Both the beloved and the hated. And if the firstborn son be hers that was hated.
Right? So the Most High is saying this, like, look, I'm about to give you a situation, right? And I'm going to let you know what it's going to be because he knows the hearts of men. He know how men could deal unrighteously, right? So he said, if the firstborn be of the one that is hated, right? Read.
Then it shall be when he maketh his sons to inherit that which he hath, that he may not make the son of the beloved firstborn before the son of the hated, which is indeed the firstborn.
Right? So we have to understand that once, when a man has children, right? When he has man children, the eldest son is to get the possession, right? He is the first one to get the inheritance passed down to him from his father, right? Being a righteous man, he's saying that if your firstborn is by the one that is hated, you can't make the one that you love that had children by you, that had a son by you, you can't make him the firstborn and give him the possession. You have to still deal righteously and give the woman, right, who is your wife that's the hated, who has your firstborn child, you have to give them their just due, right? And that is the inheritance. You got something?
The perfect example with that was with Jacob and his beloved wife was Rachel, but the only kids he had with her was Benjamin and Joseph. But the inheritance went to it was either Leah or Leah's handmaids, but it was Reuben, but ultimately fell to Judah. So that's and those weren't the kids that he had that he loved with Rachel. That was the other wife. So that's the law states there.
Right. So and then as you can see, the Most High, our forefathers, they knew the law, statutes, and commandments, right? And mind you, this is after Jacob. Right? This is when Israel is being built up. But remember, the laws has always been, right? Moses took them down and wrote them on the tablet and just reestablished them. The laws has always been here, right? Let's get Deuteronomy chapter, let me see. Let's keep reading. Let's keep reading, yeah. No, I'm good on that. Give me Deuteronomy chapter 25, and let's read verse 5.
Deuteronomy 25 and verse 5. If brethren dwell together.
Right? So, this is why we got to read the law, right? This is a law called the duty to a brother's wife, right? In any situation that your brother dies, right, and he doesn't have man children to pass down his inheritance, the Lord said, do this. Go ahead and read.
And one of them die.
And one of them die, right, read.
And have no child. The wife of the dead shall not marry without unto a stranger.
Right? So she can't go out. Once her husband is dead, she can't go out and just marry any willy-nilly man out there that she wants to marry, right? She has to put this law in place, and his kinsmen have to put this law in place. No matter the circumstance or no matter the situation, this is a law, right? Read.
Her husband's brother shall go in unto her.
Her husband's brother, right, shall go into her, right? Because her brother is dead. The scripture says if her husband is dead, she's free to marry whomever she wants. She's not bound to the law of marriage anymore. But she's bound to this law because she didn't have no man-child for her dead spouse, right? Read.
And take her to him to wife, and perform the duty of a husband's brother unto her.
Right? Read.
And it shall be that the firstborn which she beareth shall succeed in the name of his brother which is dead.
Right.
That
Right.
is-
Which is dead, right? So she has to perform this act to, the firstborn, the first child that she had by this man. He has to be in place for the husband that she had died, right? Read.
That his name be not put out of Israel.
Right, so he's going to be named after his man, after this man, and his name is going to live on through this son, right? Read.
And if the man like not to take his brother's wife,
Right, so if the man chooses not to take his brother's wife, right? Because think about it, not every man wants multiple wives, but there's a great majority of men who do. We see that in the world, right? But not every single man wants multiple wives, right? But let's say it's a situation where this man is like, okay, I have to take on this woman because my family member or my family member passed away and he didn't have no man children. But I don't want to take this woman on because I already have another wife, right? I already have a wife. I don't want to have two wives, or I don't want to take on another wife. I already have 2, 3, 4, 5 wives. I don't want to deal with that burden, right? So what does he do, right? If he decides to deny the situation, read.
then let his brother's wife go up to the gate unto the elders.
Right? So they're going up to the elders, and this is important, right? This is important to have elders who are seasoned, right, in your community, in your congregation, so they could give righteous judgment, right? Because any elder person who grew up in a righteous way, they're not going to allow certain situations to get past them, and they're going to hold people accountable, right? Yerab, can you open the door? Read.
Unto the elders, and say, my husband's brother refuseth to raise up unto his brother a name in Israel.
Right? So she went to the elders and said, man, he's refusing, to raise up a child for his brother. Right? Read.
He will not perform the duty of my husband's brother.
Right? He will not perform the duty of my husband's brother. That's my brother. Yeah. So in that case, he like, well, I don't want to take her on. I already got a wife. Right? Read.
Then the elders of the city shall call him and speak unto him, and if he stand to it and say, I like not to take her.
Right? So if he's adamant, like, I'm not going to take her, read.
Then shall his brother's wife come unto him in the presence of the elders and loose his shoe
She going to take off his shoe, right?
From off his foot.
Read.
And spit in his face.
And spit in his face. You know when somebody spit in your face, that's the utmost disrespect that a man could do to you or that a woman could do to you, right? But they said she shall loose this man's shoe and spit in his face, right? Read.
And shall answer and say, so shall it be done unto that man that will not build up his brother's house.
Right, because you're selfish. You're worried about you and yourself, and you don't want to build up your brother's house. So it's a disgrace for a man not to take on his brother's wife when he passed away and he didn't have no man children to leave his inheritance, right? That is the disgrace. You spit in that man's face. So even if it was a situation where a sister, right? These are situations that you can get in. That if you have, right, married a man and he has a brother and you don't give that man children and he passed away, right? And let's say that his brother already has a wife. He has to do that duty. And you have to be okay with that, right? And who knows if the woman say, nah, I'm good. I don't even want to raise up children to him. Most High be with you. God bless your soul, because the law says this is righteous and this is what you should do for your brother. At that point, you just hate your brother in your heart, right? You got something? No. Okay, let's go to I don't want that. Let's go to Ruth. Let's go to Ruth. No, matter of fact, scratch that. If I could get to that, I'm gonna get to that. Let's go to 1 Corinthians, right? No. Let's go to Mark chapter 10. Mark chapter 10 and verse 12. Let's read that. Go ahead, you can start.
Mark 10 and verse 4. And they said, Moses suffered to write a bill of divorcement.
Mark 10 and verse 12.
Excuse me. Verse 12. And if a woman shall put away her husband and be married to another, she committeth adultery.
Right. Sisters, y'all got to understand the law is in place for a reason, right? The law stands. No matter what you say, the law stands. I hear sisters say a lot, if my husband get another wife, I'm gone, I'm out. All right, read the scriptures. What do the scriptures say? Read. Start from the beginning.
And if a woman shall put away her husband and be married to another, she committeth adultery.
If you put away your husband because you don't want to deal with polygyny, which is clearly lawful in the Bible, right? And you marry another, you clearly committed adultery, right? You don't care what the law says. You're going off of your emotions and your feelings, right? Read.
And they brought young children to him that he should touch them.
That's it. Give me Romans chapter 7 and verse 2. Let's read that. Romans 7 and 2.
Romans 7 and 2. For the woman which hath an husband is bound by the law to her husband so long as he liveth.
Right? The woman is bound to her husband as long as he liveth, right? Read.
But if the husband be dead.
But if your husband die, right? Read.
She is loose from the law of her husband.
You're loose from the law of your husband. So as long as that man lives and there's no unrighteous act that he's committed as far as polygyny, because we know that is lawful in the scriptures, you can't leave your husband. You're bound to that man, right? Read.
So then, if, while her husband liveth, she be married to another man, she shall be called an adulteress. But if her husband be dead, she is free from that law.
Right? And you got to understand, it doesn't give the same stipulations for a man, right? Only when a man goes out and sleep with another man's wife, he commits adultery. But if that woman is not married and she doesn't have a husband and he take her on to be his wife, it's called polygyny. It's called, go back to Exodus 21, Deuteronomy 21, and read what the law say about what this man has to do when it comes to multiple wives. He just took him on another wife. That's it, right? And we always have women in our nation saying that, well, Solomon, he had 900 wives. He had all these wives, and he committed sin against the Most High. Well, you're not understanding the scriptures because that wasn't the case. His sin wasn't taking on multiple wives. His sin was idolatry, taking on women of other nations and them turning his heart to commit spiritual fornication against the Most High by worshiping idols and pitching up altars for these idols. That's the context of the scriptures, right? Let's go to that. Let's read it. 1 Kings chapter 11. We're going to come back to, no, I don't think we need Romans no more. Yeah, let's go to 1 Kings.
1 Kings 11 and 1. But King Solomon loved many strange women.
Right? King Solomon loved many strange women, right? Read.
Together with the daughter of Pharaoh, women of the Moabites, Ammonites, Edomites, Zidonians, and Hittites.
Right? So King Solomon loved all these heathenistic women. Right? Read.
Of the nations concerning which the Lord said unto the children of Israel, ye shall not go in to them, neither shall they come in unto you. For they will surely turn away your heart after their gods.
Right? So the Most High is showing you Solomon's sin. He's showing you. And not only did Solomon go after heathenistic women, he went after the worst of the worst. He loved the worst of the worst, right? The Hittites, right? Hamitic women, right? Edomites. We know about the Edomites, so-called white people. What do our basketball players do today? Right? They come up in a Christian background, right? We're going to use that for an example. Wholesome and righteous, right? And they end up being all type of wicked because of the women that they marry. All these Kim Kardashian with Kanye West, witchcraft, putting these so-called black men, Israelite men, under mind control. Right? We have to understand, the Most High said, these women will turn your heart away from the Most High. Read verse 2 again.
Of the nations concerning which the Lord said unto the children of Israel, ye shall not go in to them.
He said, you shall not go in unto them, right? Read.
Neither shall they come in unto you.
Right, read.
For surely they will turn away your heart after their gods.
For surely they're going to turn your heart to their gods, right? He never said you couldn't take on multiple wives. Solomon, don't take on multiple wives. He said, no, if you take on these women from these heathen nations, they're going to turn your heart to other gods. Every time the Most High, or you had a counsel from an Israelite man, right, from their mother or their father, they said, take somebody of your own nation, right? Samson, his mom said, look, why do you want this heathenistic woman? Get somebody that's of your own tribe, of your own nation, right? Why? Because we worship the same God. We believe in Yahweh. We worship the same power. But they worship other gods who have no power, who the Most High hates, right? So Solomon's sin wasn't having multiple wives. His sin was going after heathenistic women, right? Read.
Solomon clave unto these in love.
He said he clave unto these women in love, right? His heart was full of love for these women, right? Read.
And he had 700 wives, princesses, and 300 concubines, and his wives turned away his heart.
And his wives turned away his heart. It never said it was a sin for him to have multiple wives. Mind you, it's in the law, right? Going inside of the kings, they always found the book of the law, and they always reestablished the law back to the king. To when a righteous king came up, they always established the law and established the kingdom of Israel back to righteousness. So mind you, we're talking about the same law. God said he doesn't change, right? Let's go to Matthew. Let's hold it there. Let's go to Matthew. Let's go to Matthew chapter 5 and verse 17, right? And just like the brother Tazayawan, Bishop Tazayawan, all praises, man, brother brought it out beautifully last week. Like, when you go against the truth, that means you're slandering the truth. When you're saying that you're not with something, you're slandering the truth. You're giving the truth a bad name. You're making the truth look bad. There's a lot of women, and I'm not saying that all the situations is righteous, but there's a lot of women who are putting their emotions aside, their jealousy aside, and they're getting into these relationships because they know that righteous men or good men are scarce out here. A lot of our men are turning to homosexuality, right? A lot of our men are being put in prison, right? And this is what it says in Isaiah chapter 3, going into verse 4, that your men of war, they will die in the midst of war. They'll be led into captivity. And what's left for y'all? Just wicked men. Wicked men, right? And not enough for y'all to go around and have your own, right? Let's read Matthew chapter 5 and verse 17.
Think not that I am come to destroy the law.
Don't think that Yahushua came to destroy the law. He's saying it right here. I didn't come to destroy the law, right? Read.
Or the prophets.
Or the prophets. Anything that the prophets spoke, right? Was Moses a prophet? Yes. Who wrote the books of the law? Moses. He did not come to destroy what the prophets wrote, right? Read.
I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill.
He did not come to destroy, but to fulfill. Everything that he said that he was going to come to fulfill, some of the things have been fulfilled, and some will be fulfilled later. But we know that the things that were spoken of Yahushua, right, which was the Levitical priesthood, right? And that was one thing that we say that it wasn't completely taken away from the law, but it was translated to Christ. Christ is the sacrificial lamb now. We don't have to do animal sacrifices no more, right? That was one thing that Christ did away with in a sense, right? Because he became the Passover lamb. But show me anything else that he said that he got rid of in the law. You're not going to find it, right? Read.
For verily I say unto you.
For verily I say unto you, read.
Till heaven and earth pass.
To heaven and earth pass. We still on earth, right? And the heavens is still above, right? Read.
One jot or one tittle shall no wise pass from the law till all be fulfilled.
Not one jot or one tittle shall pass from the law till all be fulfilled, right? Meaning that nothing is going to pass from the law. Everything is the same. Everything remains the same. Everything that we have to do according to this Bible is the same. So anything that you see about polygyny or a man must have one wife or this and that, first, before you get to the New Testament, you have to solidify yourself in the Old Testament. Because you ain't going to understand what the New Testament is saying if you go. I know that if I have a foundation in the law, and it says that, the law says, a man can have multiple wives. But over here, Paul is saying a man must have one wife. I know it ain't saying that. I know Paul don't mean that because the law said that a man can have multiple wives, right? So then you have to get a further understanding, right? Just like the Ethiopian man said. He said, how am I supposed to know anything unless a man come and teach me? A lot of Israelites that come into this truth, they don't want to be taught. They want to still keep those remnants of the world inside of them, and they don't want to die to certain thing, right? We always say Christians, they like to cherry pick the Bible. They want to pick what they want to pick. Well, you know what? Sisters do that all the time. All the time. Nah, I'm cool. I'm gonna work on this, but you know what? I got to stop wearing pants. Nah, I don't agree with that scripture. I still want to wear pants, so I don't agree with that scripture. Oh, a man can have multiple wives? I don't agree with that. I just want my own husband, so I don't agree with that. But you know what? Everything else, no. No, it's not going to work. Open that door. Go ahead. You want to bring it out? Go ahead, bring it out.
Isaiah 28:10. For precept must be upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line. Here a little and there a little.
Here a little and there a little. Precept must be upon precept, right? If I'm teaching something, I have to make sure that it's according to these precepts, right? And that's how you get the understanding, right? Coupling precepts with precepts, right? Getting the understanding, right? Let me get, that was it in that Matthew? Okay. So Christ is telling you that it's still lawful, right? And I'm going to come back to Christ. I'm going to come back into the New Testament, right? But I'm going to deal in the Old as of right now. So let me get... Who do I want? Give me Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy chapter 17. Deuteronomy chapter 17 and verse 15. Let's read that. We're going I think we're going to come back to 1 Kings, but
Deuteronomy 17 and verse 15. Thou shalt in any wise set him king over thee, whom the Lord thy God shall choose. One from among thy brethren shalt thou set king over thee. Thou mayest not set a stranger over thee, which is not thy brother.
Right? So anybody that's your brother, they could be the king over you, right? And the Most High said, don't set no heathens over you, right? Because when you set heathens over you, they start to corrupt your mind and they start to make you stray away from the Most High God, right? One president that our people are so proud of is Barack goddamn Obama. Barack Obama, a disgrace to black people. A complete disgrace to black people, and yet they still love him. He hasn't done anything for the black community but gave it HIV/AIDS. Why? Monkeypox. Right? Why? Because he's the one who made it lawful for people to practice homosexuality practice, gay marriage, LGBT community, Obama. 2008, along with his administration, right? Along with the Democrats and Republicans, because they all work together, right? So when you sending people over you, right, and they're telling you that you have to go to them to get a marriage certificate, right, to be married, but they can give the same gay couple the same certificate to a straight couple. Who are them to say that you have to be married under them? Because if you ask them, can I practice polygyny or can I have multiple wives? No, you can have only one marriage certificate with one woman. That tells you that they won't let you practice multiple wives. But they'll give you license to sin and let you practice homosexuality? Oh, okay. But guess what? Our sisters, they eat that up and they love it. And they love it. And they don't care what thus says the Lord. Right? And shame on you camps for teaching that. Shame on you. Right? Let's finish chapter. Yeah, let's finish that.
Neither shall he multiply wives to himself, that his heart turn not away. Neither shall he greatly multiply.
Hold it there, right? So it says, neither shall he multiply wives unto himself, right? Is there a contradiction in the scriptures? Nah, keep reading. That his heart turn not away, read.
Neither shall he greatly multiply to himself silver and gold.
So neither shall he greatly multiply to himself silver and gold. So you can't multiply silver and gold? You can't multiply dollars? Is it a sin to put your money in the stock market? Because if you put your money in the stock market, it's going to multiply, right? What did Christ say about the talents? What did he give about the parables about the talents? Right? He said, let it work for you. He said, I'm going to give you these talents, and whatever you have, I need you to come back and I need you to flip it. I need you to multiply it. So the scripture is saying you shouldn't multiply silver into yourself. But Yahushua is saying in a parable, you got these talents, you need to flip them and multiply them. But the one person who had one talent and he hid it in the dirt, the Most High called him a wicked servant. Right? So we know that the scriptures is not saying that. Because in one minute, it's saying, oh, don't multiply silver and gold to yourself, but a man is being called wicked, right, for not multiplying his talents. Right? So the scriptures is not saying that a man can't have, you can't have $20, you can only have $1. You foolish. You can't have one piece of silver or one piece of gold. That's not what the scriptures is saying, right? When a man, like Solomon said, he said, don't give me riches, right? Give me wisdom, knowledge, and understanding so that I may feed your people. He said, don't make me rich, because if you make me rich, I'm going to forget you, right? But don't make me poor, because what? I'm going to despise you. I'm going to commit sin to get what I want, right? But give me a medium. Give me a balance. Feed me what's sufficient for me, right? That's gonna feed my soul. So he's saying, don't try to go out there and just multiply and just try to get all the riches in the world. Be content with what you got. You could be a wealthy man. You could pass down wealth to your children. But don't try to be out there, get in the bag, and try to do everything you need to do, right? And commit sin against the Most High God, right? Read.
And it shall be when he sitteth upon the throne of his kingdom that he shall write him a copy of this law in a book out of that which is.
Go back to verse 16.
Con. But he shall not multiply horses to himself.
Right? So you can only have one horse? You can't multiply horses to yourself? Right? Read.
Nor cause the people to return to Egypt to the end that he should multiply horses.
Right? So he's saying, don't try to get all these riches and put a burden on these people to do your dirty work. So you can have all these horses and you could ultimately go to war, right? And have your people go back into bondage, right? But he's saying, whatever you have, whatever the Lord gives you, be content with it, right? You got something?
Yeah, just to say and to remember what we read earlier in Sirach, that he that getteth a woman getteth a possession. It's very likeness that having a woman is like having, gold and silver and these horses. But for this I'm sure you can explain the context, and then
So let's finish reading that.
Verse 17. Neither shall he multiply wives to himself, that his heart turn not away, neither shall he greatly multiply to himself silver and gold. And it shall be when he sitteth upon the throne of his kingdom that he shall write him a copy of this law in a book out of that which is before the priests, the Levites.
Right. So this should be a book in law, and we see it's in the law. Right? So we know that a king gets possessions, but don't be so high-minded, right, that you have to go out and get everything and put a burden on the people, right? We know that kings, they're held to a higher stature, right, above the people, right?
More responsibility.
Exactly, and there's more responsibility, right? So you have to make sure that you're not doing all these things so you can maintain a balance within your kingdom. Right? And you're not taking it overboard because there's a lot to deal with, right? Even in the scriptures where it says that a bishop should be the husband of one wife, right? Okay, cool. If I'm not a bishop, let's say I'm a deacon, because it don't say nothing about a deacon, right? A deacon can have multiple wives, right? Or apostle, because I think it do say the same thing about a deacon. It might. I'm not too sure. But it don't say that about an apostle. What about an apostle, right? So that means the apostle can have multiple wives, if that's the case. But it's not saying that. It's saying that as a bishop, first and foremost, to be the husband of one wife, meaning that they should see you in the congregation that you know how to deal with a family, that you know how to deal with your wife and your children, right? I'm not saying that you can't have another wife, but it'll be hard to maintain multiple wives and you have a whole body. Right, you have to do counsels with people, and you have to deal with all these wives over here. Paul is just giving you wisdom and understanding, saying that before you do these things, you might want to consider what you're getting yourself into, brother. Right? Right? They said that all things are lawful, but some things are just not expedient. Right? Whatever's lawful, that's in the law, but everything is not expedient for every man. Every man is not meant for multiple wives. That's just what it is, right? You got something? Okay. From there, I'm gonna drop that. Let's Salakia. Let's stay in the Kings. Go to 2 Chronicles. I'll pull that out later. Get 1 Samuel chapter 1, and let's read verse 1. Yeah, let's read that.
1 Samuel chapter 1 and verse 1. Now there was a certain man of Ramath-Zophim, of Mount Ephraim, and his name was Elkanah, the son of Jehoram, the son of Elihu, the son of Tohu, the son of Zuph, an Ephrathite.
Right, read.
And he had 2 wives.
And he had 2 wives. So remember, right? This man was a priest. Right? Was he not? He was a priest. Right? You would look at the priests or the Levites like, oh, they can't have multiple wives. But what did this man have? He had 2 wives. He was a priest. Right? I'm gonna get a passage. Let me find it real quick. Let me find it. Bear with me 1 second. Okay. Not right there. Somewhere right here. Victory, prophet. Bear with me 1 second, Israel. I want to pull this out real quick. Saul, David. Okay, I think I got it. All right, let's finish that. Kind of hot in the school.
Samuel.
Sheesh. Yeah, go ahead.
Uh,
No, you good. Go ahead.
1 Samuel chapter 1 and verse 3. And this man, no, in verse 2, and he had 2 wives. The name of the one was Hannah, and the name of the other Peninnah.
Right, one name was Hannah, and the other one was Peninnah. Read.
And Peninnah had children, but Hannah had no children.
Right, so listen, I'm going to need y'all to listen clearly to this, right? So Hannah had children, right? Or was it Peninnah? Hold on, let me get there, because I'm not even
Hannah
there.
had excuse me, Peninnah.
First
had-
Samuel, okay. Peninnah had children, but Hannah had no children, right? So, sisters, y'all got to understand. Our sisters didn't think about the carnal things that our sisters think about today. And that's why when I started off the lesson, I said you have to renew your mind. You have to start to get away from those things. I understand, and you know what? I have a certain compassion towards the sisters because we have always say we have a shared trauma that happened to us during slavery and over here in America, right? So there's a little bit of compassion there, but when you come into the truth and you've been in it for a minute, there's some things that you just have to get over. Right? There's some things that you just got to start checking at the door, right? And it all has to do with your spirit, right? So y'all got to understand, our foremothers didn't think about the carnal things that women think about today. I don't want to see another sister hugging my man. I don't want to see my sister in the bedroom and hearing them do their stuff, whatever they do. I don't want to, I just don't want to do that. Our foremothers didn't think like that. They wasn't thinking on a carnal level. Right? And that goes to show you that women think about sex more than men. Because every time a man talk about multiple wives, which is not even on his mind, right? She wants to say, oh, you just want another wife so you can have sex with her. That says where you are. Because what did you want to do when you met him? You wanted to have sex with him. Right? So let's cut the crap and let's understand why our foremothers dealt the way they dealt. They didn't deal in the carnal matter, right? Read.
And this man went up out of his city yearly to worship and to sacrifice unto the Lord of hosts in Shiloh. And the 2 sons of Eli, Hophni and Phinehas, the priests of the Lord, were there.
Right? So he went up yearly to do his sacrifices. Let's go to the book of Josephus, and I want to show you what this man was, right? Let's start here.
This is the book of Josephus, Antiquities of the Jews,
Con, go ahead, take
chapter
it.
2.
Read that.
A city of the tribe of Ephraim married 2 wives, Hannah and Peninnah.
Right, so it's just giving you an extensive account of what's going on in the scriptures, right? Read.
He had children by the latter, but he loved the other best, although she was barren.
Right, so he loved the other best, even though she was barren. Right, this is repeating in the scriptures, right? That a man loving a woman best, right? But this woman didn't have him no children. You want to know why? Sometimes the Most High, he does things, because when you talk about Leah and Rachel, Leah was like, I'm about to give my husband some children. She said, and then my husband will love me, right? So the Most High had to do something to Jacob to teach him how to give him that compassion and that love for Leah, right? So the Most High opened up his heart so she can be received, right? The Most High will work in your favor if you just be humble. If you just be humble, the Most High will work in your favor. But as long as you're haughty, you want to crack your neck, you want to say, this ain't for me, I ain't going to do this, well, the Most High ain't going to work for you. He ain't going to never work for you, right? Read.
Now Elkanah came with his wives to the city Shiloh to sacrifice, for there it was that the tabernacle of God was fixed, as we have formerly said. Now when, after he had sacrificed, he distributed at that festival portions of the flesh to his wives and his children, when Hannah saw the other wife's children sitting round about their mother, she fell into tears.
Right? So, read that again.
And when Hannah saw the other wife's children sitting round about their mother.
You see? So, Peninnah is sitting down with her children, and they're all around her, right? And Hannah is looking at this, right? Read.
She fell into tears.
She fell into tears. Why? She didn't fall into tears because Peninnah was having sex with her husband. Why did she fall into tears?
Hannah saw the other wife's children sitting round about their mother.
They were sitting around about her mother. She wanted children. Right? Read.
And lamented herself on account of her barrenness and lonesomeness.
She did what?
She lamented herself on account of her barrenness.
She lamented because her husband wouldn't have sex with her?
Because of her barrenness.
Because of her she lamented because her husband was having sex with Peninnah?
Her barrenness.
She was crying because of her barrenness, because she couldn't have children. Read it.
Her barrenness and lonesomeness.
And her lonesomeness. Women always say they want children because they feel lonely. Well, if she has a husband, and her husband is always with this man, he could have fulfilled her loneliness. But she said, that's not fulfilling my loneliness, because I'm not with my husband all the time. I need some children. I need something to keep me occupied. I need something to get me going. Right? Read.
And suffering her grief to prevail over her husband's consolations to her, she went to the tabernacle to beseech God to give her seed.
Where did she go?
The tabernacle. To beseech God to give her seed and to make her a mother.
She didn't go on Instagram talking about, oh, my husband took another wife, I ain't dealing with him no more. She went to beseech God and say, Lord, I need some children. Right? Read.
And to vow to consecrate the first son she should bear to the service of God.
How many of y'all making a vow to the Lord? How many of y'all fasting and praying about your jealousy and about the spirit that you have towards something that the Most High says is lawful? Our foremothers didn't even think of it that way. They didn't even think on it. They wanted children. Right? Read.
And this in such a way that his manner of living should not be like that of ordinary men.
She said, look, I'm going to make a vow. And this man that I'm going to give you, Lord, I'm going to make sure he's the best man in the world. And I'm going to make sure that he's not like any other man. While y'all thinking about the carnal things, these women are thinking about having sex with their husband to have children so they could bring up righteous prophets of the Lord. Right? Read.
And as she continued at her prayers a long time, Eli, the high priest, for he sat there before the tabernacle, bid her go away. thinking she had been disordered with wine.
Right? So he thought she was drunk. He said, man, this woman is drunk. There's somewhere else in this passage where it says that Samuel's dad was of a middle class, meaning that he wasn't the richest man in the world. Middle class ain't even rich. When we talking about middle class in these days, right? It says that he was of a middle stature, right? So he wasn't rich. You ain't got to be the richest man in the world to have multiple wives. All you got to do is hold down your fort, right? And look, maybe women want, they want the good things in life, and they're like, well, if I want these things and there's women out there who just want basic things, right? You have multiple women out there that just get you multiple women who just want basic things, right? Get you a man that just want basic things. If you want you a man get you a man that's doing something for himself, right? His credit is right? He looking on, doing investments and making his money work for him, serving the Lord and doing what he needs to. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But you got to understand, our foremothers were thinking about building. They wasn't thinking about the other woman. Unless she had children before her. That was the competition. We seen that with Leah and Rachel, right? Let's go back to Samuel. Finish reading that.
1 Samuel chapter 1 and verse 5. But unto Hannah he gave a worthy portion, for he loved Hannah, but the Lord has shut up her womb. And her adversary also provoked her sore to make her fret, because the Lord has shut up her womb.
Right,
and as he did so year by year, when she went up to the house of the Lord, so she provoked her. Therefore she wept and did not eat. Then said Elkanah, her husband, to her, Hannah, why weepest thou, and why eatest thou not? And why is thy heart grieved? Am I not better to thee than 10 sons?
Right? He like, am I not better to you than 10 sons? Obviously, right? She like, I want some kids, right, Reed?
So Hannah rose up after they had eaten in Shiloh and after they had drunk. Now Eli the priest sat upon a seat by a post of the temple of the Lord, and she was in bitterness of soul, and prayed unto the Lord and wept sore. And she vowed a vow and said, O Lord of hosts, if thou wilt indeed look on the affliction of thine handmaid, and remember me, and not forget thine handmaid, but will give unto thine handmaid a man-child, then I will give him unto the Lord all the days of his life, and there shall no razor come upon his head.
He's having sex with her more than me. That ain't what they thought about. He's spending more time with her than me. That ain't what they thought about. I'm pretty sure, they had their moments, but the ultimate goal was to give him a man-child. Right? Leah and Rachel, they was like, man, I don't care. You could take my maidservant here, have sex with my maidservant so you could give me some children. They was giving him women.
Even to the point of the handmaids.
Right. They were all of them were competing for children. You can't make this up. You can't make this up. Let's go to let's see. Let's go to Ruth. Let's go to Ruth chapter 2. No. That's Esther. Let's go to Ruth chapter 4. Ruth chapter 4 and verse 10.
Ruth 4 and 10. Moreover, Ruth the Moabitess, the wife of Mahlon, have I purchased to be my wife, to raise up the name of the dead.
Let me. I'm already there, but
give us a second.
Yeah, go ahead.
To raise up the name of the dead upon his inheritance, that the name of the dead be not cut off from among his brethren.
Right? So we already went through that, right? This is a situation of a brother, or the duty of a brother's wife, right? Read.
And from the gate of his place you are witnesses this day.
Right, read.
And all the people that were in the gate and the elders said, we are witnesses. The Lord make the woman that has come into thine house like Rachel and like Leah.
Right. So, Salakia. So just in a nutshell, because I'm not going to go through this whole thing, but so there was one man who was nearest kin to Milan, right? That was Ruth's husband, who passed away, right? And there was one man who was nearest kin to him before Boaz, right? And this man said that he didn't want, the inheritance was supposed to be given to him, and he was supposed to raise up a man-child, do the duty to a brother's wife, and have children in the stead of his brother, right? So this man refused to do it, right? So he gave up the land and his inheritance, and he gave it over to Boaz, right? Let's read this right here. I'm going to get this account real quick, and I'm going to show you why he gave it up, right? Let's start right here. Start right there.
This is Antiquities of the Jews by Josephus.
Right.
When she had informed her mother-in-law of this, they were very glad of it, out of the hope they had that Boaz would make provision for them. Now about noon, Boaz went down into the city and gathered the senate together. And when he had sent for Ruth, he called for her kinsman also. And when he was come, he said, dost not thou retain the inheritance
right.
of...
So look, so basically in a nutshell, right, she was going after Boaz, but Boaz was like, look, being a righteous man, he said, I'm not the nearest kin, right? There's somebody that's nearer than me, right? So Boaz took her to the Senate, right, took her to the elders, and they called the man who was near of kin to her husband, right? Read.
Dost not thou retain the inheritance of Elimelech and his sons? He confessed that he did retain it, and that he did as he was permitted to do by the laws, because he was their nearest kinsman.
Right, so he had to do it according to the law because he was the nearest kinsman, right? Read.
Then said Boaz, thou must not remember the laws by halves, but do everything according to them.
Right, he said you can't remember the laws by half. Don't remember the laws by half. Don't take this here and that there and choose what you want to choose when you want to choose it. You can't. He's talking to the man, though. He's not even talking to the woman. He's talking to the man. Don't do the laws by half, right? Read.
For the wife of Mahlon came hither, whom thou must marry according to the law, in case thou will retain their fields.
Right? So he said, according to the law, you have to do this so you can retain their fields, right? Read.
So the man yielded up both the field and the wife to Boaz.
He did what?
So the man yielded up both the field and the wife to Boaz.
He yielded up the field and the in the land, right? In the field in the wife to Boaz. He yielded up Ruth and the land to Boaz. He like, I don't even want it. You can have her and you can have the land, right? Read.
Who was himself of kin to those that were dead, as alleging that he had a wife already. And
right, as alleging what?
That he had a wife already.
Alleging what?
That he had a wife already and children also.
Alleging that he had a wife already and children. He didn't want to take her on because he had a wife and children already. So guess what she did? Read.
So Boaz called the senate to witness and bid the woman to loose his shoe and spit in his face.
She took off her shoe and spit in his face. You're a disgrace. Because supposing you have a wife and children, but you don't want to take on this other woman, thus says the law. You can't get around it. Read.
According to the law. And when this was done, Boaz married Ruth, and they had a son within a year's time. Naomi was herself a nurse to this child, and by the advice of the women, called him Obed.
Right. So Ruth, she didn't look at the woman and say, "Hey, I don't want to be with him. I don't want to be with that near kinsman because he already got a wife." No, it was the man. Ruth was willing. Right? Let's go back to the scriptures. I'm done with this. Go back to the scriptures. Let's read verse 10 again. Read.
Ruth 4 and 10. Moreover, Ruth the Moabitess, the wife of Mahlon, have I purchased to be my wife, to raise up the name of the dead upon his inheritance, that the name of the dead be not cut off from among his brethren, and from the gate of his place. Ye are witnesses this day.
Ye are witnesses this day. Right? That what?
And all the people that were in the gate.
And all the people that were in the gate in the kingdom, right? Read.
And the elders said, we are witnesses. The Lord make the woman that is come into thine house like Rachel and like
They
Leah.
said, this woman that came into this gate, we likened her like unto Leah and Rachel, who did what?
Which two did build the house of Israel.
Which two did what?
Build the house of Israel.
Which two did have strife?
Build the house of Israel.
Which two did hate each other?
Which build the house of Israel.
Which two did build the house of Israel. So all the crap about, oh, look at Leah and Rachel, they were arguing. It says right here that they got it right. Why? Because your butt is here today. They did build the house of Israel. They built up the 12 tribes of Israel. These two women, right? All his 4 wives built up the tribes of Israel. You come from a polygynous situation. And while you thinking on the negative things, I could find positive things in the scriptures that say it works. Yeah, it might start off rocky. Yeah, it might start off bad. But who said it can't get better? When you come into this truth, it starts off rocky. I see a lot of people start off rocky. But guess what? They start to level themselves out. And they start to thrive in this truth. And the Most High starts to bless them. Why? Because they don't let pride get to them. They don't let jealousy, they don't let envy and strife get to them. They start to shave off them layers and get it right. Right? Read that again.
And all the people that were in the gate, and the elders said, we are witnesses. The Lord make the woman that is come into thine house like Rachel and like Leah, which two did build the house of Israel.
Rachel and Leah built the house of Israel. So all the negative things you have to say about them, the scriptures is telling you at the end of the day, what happened. We could talk about the beginning, we could talk about the in-between, but let's talk about what happens at the end. They did build the house of Israel. And because of them building the house of Israel, you potentially have a chance of getting the kingdom one day at the end. So let's get more into it. Give me Isaiah. Let's go to Isaiah. Because you have a lot of people, right? And mind you, they said they came into the gates. Israel was thriving at this time. You have a lot of people saying that polygyny is fornication. Salakia, hold on. You have a lot of people saying that polygyny is fornication. Polygyny is not lawful right now for this time, but it'll be lawful in the kingdom. I'm here to tell you right now, anything that's lawful here right now won't be in the kingdom. It will not be lawful in the kingdom. Anything that's a sin here is going to be a sin, and it won't make it into the kingdom. That's a guarantee. So if you have a camp teaching you that, you might want to run and leave because they're not showing you how to prick your spirit and get it right. Right? They're letting you be comfortable with being jealous and being jealous over another woman, right? Before you get that, give me Sirach chapter 26 and read verse 6.
Sirach 26 and 6. But a grief of heart.
But a grief of heart. This is what grieves the heart. To a man and to a woman, because it brings strife. It brings wickedness, right? Read.
And sorrow is a woman that is jealous over another woman.
Now we know Jealousy is inevitable. Those are spirits that rise up in you, right? But what are you doing to combat those jealous spirits? Are you fasting? Are you praying? Are you telling Most High, take that jealous spirit off of me, right? But grief of heart and sorrow is a woman that is jealous over another woman, right? Read.
And a scourge of the tongue which communicateth with all.
And the scourge of the tongue that communicated for all. Because once you jealous and you start getting into altercations and stuff, you know, women could go tooth and nail. You ready to argue? I'm about to throw all the hateful words at you. And then it's going to end up in just brawling, right? Let's go back. Isaiah. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 3. My bad. Isaiah chapter 3, and let's read verse 16.
Isaiah 3:16. Moreover, the Lord saith, because the daughters of Zion are haughty.
Because the daughters of Zion are haughty. You can't tell our women nothing. You can't tell them anything, right? They want to do what they want to do when they want to do it. And when they feel like it's lawful to them, that's what they're going to do. But y'all can't do that. The Most High said you just not going to be in the kingdom with that type of attitude, right? Read.
And walk with stretched forth necks.
Nigga, you can't tell me nothing. You want another wife? Brothers bring up multiple wives. Yeah, I wish he would. And brothers be scared, like, I'm scared that my wife gonna leave me. It's good that she leave you, because she don't even submit to the Most High. Right? Read.
And wanton eyes, walking and mincing as they go, and making a tinkling with their feet. Therefore the Lord will smite with a scab the crown of the head of the daughters of Zion, and the Lord will discover their secret parts.
Right, read.
In that day the Lord will take away the bravery of their tinkling ornaments about their feet, and their cauls and their round tires like the moon, and the chains and the bracelets and the mufflers.
He said he gonna take away all the things that you like. The chains, the nose ring that go to the earring to make you look beautiful, the nose jewels and the little forehead jewels and the tires and the head wraps. He said, I'm gonna take that all from you. Right? Guess who had that? Guess who had all those things? Guess who was in the women's chamber? Esther, competing for a man who already had wives. Am I lying? No, we're going to go there later. We're going to go there in a minute. But Esther, you telling me you're better than Esther to compete for a man? She was competing for a heathen. She was trying to be in the top spot to a heathen, to be his queen, Queen Esther. You telling me that you better than Esther? And guess what the Lord did? She was in a righteous competition, right? She was purified for what? It says a year. Purified. She was being purified. They gave her the sweet smells, the oils. They gave her all the changeable apparel. She was looking good, looking nice, smelling good. All to get this man, but you don't want to do it. All right, that's fine. That's fine. You don't want to humble yourself, but the Most High said, I'm going to take all this away because you don't want to be humble. Esther was a humble servant. You want to know why? Because she didn't have, even if she did have her mom teaching her, she had a righteous man, Mordecai, her cousin, to teach her how to be that woman, to be a woman according to God, to be submissive. That was her hedge. That was her protection. Right? Read.
The rings and the nose jewels and the changeable suits of apparel and the mantles and the wimples and the crisping pins, the glasses and the fine linen and the hoods and veils. And it shall come to pass that instead of sweet smell, there shall be stink.
There should be stink. Why? Because our women are rebellious. Our women go out, they want to sleep with every man in the world. knowing that they're not made for that. Every time you tell a woman a man can have multiple wives, well, let me have multiple husbands. You're not made up for that. And most time when you ask a woman, do you want to have another man? They be like, no, I don't. But because they're in their feelings and their emotions, they're just going to throw that foolishness out there. And 9 times out of 10, if a woman is dealing with another man, it's because she's trying to make the man that she really loves jealous. That's it. You're not made for that, right? When multiple men are being put inside you, you're having all these spirits that you're harboring inside of you. And now you're acting a type of way and you don't even understand because you are only meant for one man, not multiple men, right? But just like the scriptures say if a man joined himself to a harlot, right, they become one body. He starts to take on the spirits that she has. Right? Read.
And it shall come to pass that instead of sweet smell, there should be stink, and instead of a girdle, a rent, and instead of a well set hair, baldness, and instead of a stomacher, a girding of sackcloth, and burning instead of beauty.
Right, read.
Thy men shall fall by the sword.
Thy men shall fall by the sword. What's happening now? Our men are being slain left to right in the streets. Also, this is twofold. Even after this time, our men been being slain in the streets or whatever. Because once you get to Jeremiah, in Jeremiah, I think it's 29, it says, build ye houses, take wives, marry you wives, marry your children unto wives, right? Or marry your sons unto wives and marry your daughters unto husbands so that the kingdom can flourish and you can rebuild, right? Because all this stuff happened to the children of Israel. Even to now, we see our men being slain in the street by the police, by one another, being put in jail, by homosexuality, by the agendas of this wicked place called America. So when you really get into it, how is a woman going to have one man to herself? It's impossible because women outnumber men, period. So you telling me that you good with just having your husband, your righteous husband to yourself, and you just looking at your sister out in the cold and she has nobody to lead her and guide her? Remember, where there's no hedge, the possession is spoiled. You should look like that. You should look at that towards your sister as well. I want my sisters to have a righteous situation. That's how we should think towards each other, right? Read.
Thy men shall fall by the sword, and thy mighty in the war.
And thy mighty in the war. We're going through war every single day. And even when war really hit this place in America, you're going to see our people dying left to right. 2/3. So it's just impossible to be, Marie.
And her gates shall lament and mourn.
And her gates shall lament and mourn. Why? Just like I said, where there is no hedge, the possession is spoiled. When your men are slain, right? It says, and her gates shall lament and mourn. Why? Because there's no men to protect the gates. Who were at the gates protecting the gates of Jerusalem? The men, the warriors of Israel, right? Read.
And she being desolate shall sit upon the ground.
And she being desolate shall sit upon the ground, just waiting for the enemies to come and take them away, because there's no man to protect you. But what? Read.
And in that day 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying.
So during the time of war and during the time of oppression, because they said this is going to be happening in the kingdom. No, it's Isaiah chapter 3 is going into Isaiah chapter 4. And in that day, when thy men shall fall by the sword, and thy mighty man in war, and her gates shall lament, and her gates shall mourn, and she shall be desolate, shall sit on the ground. In that day, what are women going to do?
7 women shall take hold of one man.
7 women are going to take hold of one man, right? Read.
Saying, we will eat our own bread.
They're going to eat their own bread, because remember the scripture in Jeremiah, when it says that a woman shall compass a man, right? The woman has more money. She's on top of society. She's leading in the household, right? it says that they're going to eat their own bread, meaning that, look, all the stuff that women worry about, he need to have some money. These women are going to be like, I don't care about your money. I got my own money. I got my own clothes. I got my own bread. Read.
And wear our own apparel.
Right.
Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach.
Only let us be called by your name to take away our reproach. Because if this is talking about the kingdom, that means that the women don't have no approach anymore. But it's saying that they still have approach, meaning that they want this man to be to take them on so it can take away their sin and their reproach, and they can be led righteously to the kingdom. Right? Read.
And in that day shall the branch of the Lord be beautiful.
And in that day the branch of the Lord shall be beautiful. Why? Because we're transitioning into the kingdom and we're getting there right, and our minds are being reformed. Right? Read.
And glorious.
And glorious. Read.
And the fruit of the earth shall be excellent and comely for them that are escaped of Israel.
Right? So meaning that in the kingdom, men are going to have multiple wives and everybody is going to be cool with it. So by a camp telling you that multiple wives is not lawful right now, it's fornication, right? If they're teaching you that and you saying, nah, I'm not going to practice multiple wives, it's going to be lawful in the kingdom, but it ain't lawful right now. If you turning your neck up at polygyny, you won't be in the kingdom because the Most High ain't going to have your spirit in there for you to turn. Just imagine Jake's having multiple wives and you have a woman who's stepping there and like, oh, he got my husband can't do that. You won't be in the kingdom. None of that jealousy, none of that turning up your neck. Look at him. None of that's going to be in the kingdom. So you're not going to make it. You're not even going to be there. So when the camp teaches women that, they're not teaching them to reform their mind to be into the kingdom, because your mind is not going to be changed just by the twinkling of an eye, right? Just by a snap of the finger. No, that's why we have to rehearse the righteous acts which are in this Bible. You have to start to reform your mind day by day so that when you get to the kingdom, you won't have none of that wickedness. It's easy for the Most High to just be like, my servant, you did good. Your mind is reformed. I got you. Come in and step into the kingdom. But while you turning up your nose at sisters who got multiple wives, you may not even be the one who have multiple wives, but you be like, man, my husband can't do that. You won't be in the kingdom, sister. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but you won't be in the kingdom. And when they teach, oh, it's fornication now, but it won't be in the kingdom. All right, for sure. Let's go. Go to Revelation chapter 22 and verse 14. Nowhere in the law you're going to find where it's a sin for a man to take on multiple wives, just like we proved, right? And furthermore, I think in Leviticus 18 and 18, it says that you shouldn't sleep with a sister, with your wife and her sister at the same time in their lifetime, meaning you can't have threesomes. So there's a law saying that polygyny is lawful, but you can't do certain things in polygyny. You have to keep it lawful and righteous, right? So there's nowhere in the law where it says that polygyny is fornication, right? Read.
Come on. Revelations 22:14. Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life.
Blessed are they that do his commandments. If a man if he get multiple wives and he practice polygyny, blesses that man who does his duty and keep the commandments according to what he has. Read.
And may enter in through the gates into the city, for without are dogs.
So without are dogs.
And sorcerers.
And sorcerers.
And whoremongers.
And men that go around and sleep with different women and not take them on to be his wives and just leave them with babies and having these wives just trotted down and just causing our women to be out here committing adultery. You ain't going to make it in the kingdom. Read.
And murderers.
And murderers. Read.
And idolaters.
And idolaters.
And whosoever loveth and maketh a lie.
And whosoever loveth and maketh a lie. So none of these things won't be in the kingdom. And even I think in 1 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 9, it says that fornication won't be in the kingdom. So if polygyny is fornication now, but it won't be fornication in the kingdom, that's impossible. That means God is a liar. That means we shouldn't even be following these scriptures, right? I'm gonna get a few scriptures. Cause I'm. Let's go to Matthew. Let's go to Matthew chapter 25. Right? Paul didn't speak against the law. Christ didn't speak against the law. Right? So, yeah. So we know that this is a parable. Christ is comparing the kingdom to this. Right? Christ is comparing the kingdom to this. Now, if polygyny was unlawful, why would Christ compare the kingdom to something that is so disgusting and unlawful? Does that make sense to you? Let's read it. Verse 1.
Matthew 25:1. Then shall the kingdom of heaven be likened unto 10 virgins.
The kingdom of heaven is going to be like unto 10 virgins. What happened in Isaiah chapter 4? It says 7 women shall come to one man. That's it's not saying that literally 7 women, but that's just the number of completion, meaning that we're going to be complete when we get in the kingdom. And this is going to be going on in the kingdom, right? So it says, then the kingdom shall be like unto 10 virgins, right? Read.
Which took the lamps and went forth to meet the bridegroom.
There's 10 virgins who is about to meet the bridegroom. So when you're reading this, you're like, oh, maybe they're in competition. One of them is probably just going to be with the bridegroom, right? Let's read on.
And the 5 of them were wise, and 5 were foolish.
Right, read.
They that were foolish took their lamps and took no oil with them. But the wise took the oil in their vessels with their lamps.
So they knew about each other. They were with each other. And they knew they was about to meet this one man. They wasn't battling like, oh, she over here, she getting her oil, da-da-da-da. No, they both getting their oil together. They keeping the commandments. They doing what they supposed to do. Ain't no strife, ain't no envy, but they're doing what they need to do to get the kingdom, right? Read.
While the bridegroom tarried, they all slumbered and slept. And at midnight there was a cry made, Behold, the bridegroom cometh, go ye out to meet him. Then all those virgins arose and trimmed their lamps. And the foolish said unto the wise, Give us of your oil, for our lamps are gone out.
You see, so the foolish, they was focused on some other stuff. They wasn't worried about the kingdom. They wasn't focused on the kingdom. So now they asking these women, give us some of your oil. Well, I see that y'all righteous. I see y'all want to do the right thing. But they knew that they were, so they're like, man, give us some of your oil, right? Read.
But the wise answered, saying, Not so, lest there be not enough for us and you.
Not so. It ain't going to be enough for me and you. I'm trying to make it to this kingdom. I'm trying to get to the bridegroom. You can't have none of this. Sorry. Read.
But go ye rather to them that sell and buy for yourselves.
Right. Go to them that sell and go get it yourself. I mean, go work on yourself. Right. Or you should have been doing that. Right. Read.
And while they went to buy, the bridegroom came, and they that were ready went in with him to the marriage, and the door was shut.
Right. So 5 of them went into the marriage chamber, and the door was shut. And what did they do? They went into the kingdom, and they all married this one man. Right? Read.
Afterward came also the other virgins, saying, Lord, Lord, open to us. But he answered and said, Verily I say unto you, I know you not. Watch therefore, for ye know neither the day come, nor the hour wherein the Son of Man cometh.
So you don't know the time or the hour when Christ is going to come. So you need to be being steadfast on these commandments and just dying daily and taking away them evil spirits away from you and telling the Most High to work on you if you have a problem with this specific subject that we're dealing with, which is polygyny, right? What time is it? I'm gonna gun some scriptures real quick. Give me 2 Chronicles 13 and verse 21.
2 Chronicles 13:21.
Read that.
But Abijah waxed mighty and married 14 wives.
Right? Hold on. Abijah, I said 21. Okay, yeah, read.
And begat 22 sons and 16 daughters. And the rest of the acts of Abijah and his ways and his sayings are written in the story of the prophet Iddo.
Right? So this man, he did what was right in the sight of the Lord, right? And he married 14 wives, right? And begat 22 children, 22 sons and 16 daughters. So this king, he did righteous. He had all these wives and children, right? Give me 2 Chronicles chapter 24, and let's read verse 1 through 3.
2 Chronicles 24, verse 1. Joash was 7 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 40 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name also was Zibiah of Beersheba. And Joash did that which was right in the sight of the Lord all the days of Jehoiada the priest. And Jehoiada took for him 2 wives, and he begat sons and daughters.
Right? So it says that Jehoiada, he did right in the sight of the Lord, right? And Jehoiada took him 2 wives, and he begat sons and daughters.
And he was a priest.
And he was a priest, right? Let's go to 1 Samuel chapter 30. 1 Samuel chapter 30. Oh, no, I want to get this. 2 Samuel chapter 12. I got a lot more, so I probably won't get to all of it, but, y'all get the gist. Go ahead.
2 Samuel chapter 12 and verse 1. And the Lord sent Nathan unto David, and he came unto him and said unto him, there were 2 men in one city.
Backstory. So this is Nathan coming to David, right? David had committed adultery with Uriah's wife. He killed Uriah, right? He got a lot of Israel, the men of war, he got them killed, right, to conspire to kill Uriah, right? So he killed Uriah. He slept with his wife. He had a baby by her, tried to have Uriah sleep with him, but then had him killed, right? And then Nathan is telling him, like, this is what's going on, right? Read.
The rich man had exceeding many flocks and herds, but the poor man had nothing save one little ewe lamb, which he had brought up and nourished up, and it grew up together with him and with his children. It did eat of his own meat and drank of his own cup and lay his own bosom, and was unto him as a daughter. And there came a traveler unto the rich man, and he spared to take of his own flock and of his own herd to dress for the wayfaring man that was come unto him, but took the poor man's lamb and dressed it for the man that was come to him.
So he's telling David, like, this rich man took from this poor man, and this rich man had riches, but he wanted to use the poor man's goods, right? Read.
And David's anger was greatly kindled against the man.
So David was angry at the man, like, that's unrighteous, right? Read.
And he said to Nathan, as the Lord liveth, the man that had done this thing shall surely die.
Not knowing that David is talking about his own self. That man shall surely die. Like, I'm about to kill this man. We're going to kill this man, right? Read.
And he shall restore the lamb fourfold, because he did this thing, and because he had no pity.
Right, read.
And Nathan said to David, thou art the man.
Nathan said, David, you are that man. You that rich man who took from the poor man who had nothing. Right, read.
Thus saith the Lord God of Israel, I anointed thee king over Israel and delivered thee out of the hand of Saul.
Right, he said, I delivered you out of the hands of Saul. He was on the hunt trying to kill you, and I delivered you, right, read.
And I gave thee thy master's house.
He said, I gave you his house when he died, right, read.
And thy master's wives.
I gave you all his wives, right.
Into thy bosom.
Right, read.
And gave thee the house of Israel and of Judah.
Right, read.
And if that had been too little.
And if that was too little, if I gave you your master's wives, if that was too little, right, if you wanted more, right? Read.
I would moreover have given unto thee such and such
He
things.
said, and if that was too little, I would have gave you moreover such and such things. All you had to do was ask. But you didn't have to go sleep with that man's wife, David. So David's sin wasn't multiple wives, because God said, if you wanted more wives, I would have gave you such and such. Your sin came, read it. We're going to finish it. Read.
Wherefore hast thou despised the commandment of the Lord?
He said, you despised the commandment of the Lord by doing what?
By doing evil in his sight. Thou hast killed Uriah the
Hittite.
Hittite.
You killed Uriah the Hittite with the sword, right? Read.
And hast taken his wife to be thy wife, and hast slain him with the sword of the children of Ammon.
Right? So David did all these things. He committed adultery against this man. And he said, man, David, if you wanted more wives, all you had to do was ask me, and I would have gave you more wives. Easy. Get 1 Kings chapter 15 and verse 5. Now let me show you David's sin. Said, oh, yeah. David committed sin because he had multiple wives. No, sisters, y'all got to stop teaching. You got to stop teaching because you don't know the scriptures. You're not keeping it in context. Right? Read.
1 Kings 15 and 5. Because David did that which was right in the eyes of the Lord.
David did right in the sight of the Lord, right? Read.
And turned not aside from anything that he commanded him all the days of his life.
David didn't turn aside from the Lord, right? He did everything that the Lord commanded him, right? Read.
Save only in the matter of Uriah the Hittite.
Save one thing, the matter of the Hittite Uriah, right? Read.
And there was war between Rehoboam and Jeroboam.
Right? So David did everything in his power to do righteous by the Most High. So it never said that David sinned for having multiple wives. He said David did righteous and did everything that God commanded him to do. Save what he did to Uriah the Hittite, which was slept with his wife and committed adultery. So David's sin wasn't polygyny. His sin was adultery. Sleeping with another man's wife. Right? Because I'm not going to be able to get to that. I want to get to it, but I can't. But remember, David, David was poor. David even said in the scriptures, he said, man, I'm a poor man. I don't have nowhere to go. I'm on my day-to-day with my man. I'm poor. David didn't have nowhere to stay, right? David asked Nabal, feed my servants. David is hungry. Nabal was like, who is David? David probably running away from his servant. I ain't giving David nothing. So David was like, let's go kill this man. I'm about to kill this man. 10 days later, after Abigail gave David some food, like, look, don't worry about my husband. He's this is the way he is. Even though her husband was that way, he was a mean man. She still dealt righteously towards her husband. She made sure that these men didn't come kill her husband. Moses is like, that nigga's wicked. I'm about to get this nigga killed. Forget this nigga. You want something to happen to your husband. But Abigail, it says that Nabal, he was charged that he was a wicked man. She still pleaded for her husband. 10 days later, though, the Most High put him to death. And guess what? Put Abigail in a better situation. She became David's wife, right? Why? It wasn't adultery because Nabal was dead. What did the law say? If a man die, right, the woman is free from the law of marriage. She can marry whoever she wants, right? So Abigail married David, right? And beside her, she had one of her friends beside her, and David married her friend also, right then and there. Right? But guess what? David had about 6 or 7 more wives before that, and he still didn't have nowhere to stay. And they builded him a house later. Brothers, not saying that you can't be a bum. I mean, not saying that you could be a bum and have multiple wives. Nah, brothers, go out and do what you need to do. Get your mean cottage, right? But at the end of the day, if a brother is maintaining his house, he don't have to have the stature or the money like the kings in the Bible. He don't have, as long as he maintaining his household, he could do what is lawful according to the law. Period. And you shouldn't have no problem with that. Right? I want to get one last scripture. Is that it? Oh, last one. Last one. Give me Judges. Give me Judges. I think I wrote it down. Did I write it down? I might have deleted it. Give me Judges chapter 16, I believe. Was it 6? No, Judges chapter 6. And read verse 1. So just to get context, right, read.
And the children of Israel did evil in the sight of the Lord.
So the children of Israel did evil in the sight of the Lord, and what happened?
And the Lord delivered them in the hand of Midian 7 years.
So he delivered them into the hand of Midian for 7 years. So what is this telling us? That Israel is in captivity at this time. Israel is in captivity at this time, right? Because you got a lot of sisters that say, oh, men can't have multiple wives in captivity. How do we get out of captivity? If that's the case, I shouldn't even have a wife in captivity because I can't even take care of a wife in captivity. How are we still thriving in captivity? We're gonna kill that. We're gonna kill that. A man can have multiple wives in captivity because this is example right here. And the children of Israel did evil in the sight of the Lord. And the Lord delivered them into the hands of Midian 7 years. They're in captivity, right? And it goes on to say that the Most High raises up Gideon to deliver his people, right? Let's go to Judges chapter 8. I had it. Let me get it real quick. Judges 8, and let's read verse. Where's is that it? Yeah, there we go. Read that. So, mind you, the Most High is raising up Gideon to deliver Israel out of the hands of the Midianites, right? And Israel is in captivity at that time. And the deliverer who was close to God, what did he have? Read.
And Gideon had 70 sons of his body begotten, for he had many wives.
One wife?
He had many wives.
2 wives?
Many wives.
Gideon had many wives in captivity. Gideon had many wives in captivity. You can have multiple wives in captivity. I don't know where that doctrine came from, but kill it. Because the scriptures don't say that. I'm going to leave y'all with something, and I'm going to just leave you with something to think about. I had an article that I wanted to pull up, but we over time. But there was not a sister, but a heathen. That was Judges 8 and verse 30. So you have this Malaysian chick, right? And y'all could look up the article. I'm gonna give you her name, and you could just type it in Google, right? There's a real article. It's not fake. Real article, right? Her name is Hazatuo Antika, right? Right? And she's from Malaysia, right? She was a pregnant woman from Malaysia, right? And when she got pregnant, she fell sick, right? Where she was like wheelchair bound. Being most humble and being her desire is to her husband, she said that my husband still needs the day-to-day things that needs to be done. I'm not looking for him to do it. I'm going to get another wife and bring her in so she can help my husband. Go look up the article. Just type in her name. It's going to pop up. And the article goes down. She said that she went on Facebook and she started looking for a wife, to marry her husband or whatever. Now they're a happy family. And she did this all out of meekness and humbleness for her husband. Like, man, my husband needs to be taken care of, and this is what I'm going to do for him. Sisters, y'all got to get back to that. It ain't about you. Remember, it's about your husband. If your husband is okay, you are okay. If your husband's not okay, the household is not okay. Right? And then now I'm going to leave you some things to think about. Also, there's a YouTube video that this couple did. They said they traveled the world, and they said they went to areas in those different countries of people that look like us, right? That look like us. And they said they found one thing common amongst those people. They practice polygyny. So it's only in this Western world over here that our people or our women think that way, right? So when you go over there, you can't turn your nose up to them because that's what they believe in and that's what they're on, right? And I'm going to leave you a couple of things to think about. The benefits of polygyny, right? It provides every woman with a quality man, right? That's if you choose right. And we know that quality men are scarce out here, right? If I was a woman, I would want something that's proven, right? I see that man, he's with his wife, he take care of his family, right? Not saying that you can't get a single brother that's, doing this thing or whatever, but we're talking about polygyny, right? Get something that's proven. You want a quality man, right? Gives you the opportunity to do things you would want to do. Let's say you wanted to go to school or you wanted to go to work, but the other wife, she don't want to go to work. She want to stay home and take care of the kids. You have somebody there to take care of your kids, to teach your kids and do the things that while you go to school or you go do the job that she doesn't want to do, right? It provides women the opportunity to do things that they want to do, right? More hands on deck and helping with chores. There's more hands on deck, right? A group effort, it works better, right? 2 is better than 1, right? And 1 is better, and 3 is better than 2, and 4 is better than 3. 5 is better. You get the point, right? So more hands on deck. All the responsibility and all the chores is not on you. And I tell sisters this all the time. Your husband is not your helpmeet. You're his helpmeet. Anything he needs help with, that's what you help him with. And if he needs further help, he's going to get more help, which is more wives. You don't look to him to help you. No, not saying that a man, disclaimers, not saying that a man can't help his wife. If I see my wife and she doing certain stuff, she getting the job done, and she say, Kanash, I need you to help me with this, that, and the third. I'm going to help my wife. I'm going to say, yeah, don't trip. I got you, baby. Don't worry about it. But that's not, don't look to your husband to help you with everything, little thing. If you really want help, go seek out and find another man for your husband. Right? More incomes. Everybody like more incomes. I know when I was staying with brothers and we had apartment, you know, we had apartment with each other. We was split. Find another woman for your husband, Salakia, right? When I was living with brothers, we had a situation where we were able to pull together the rent, and we weren't paying that much money, right? Because it was a group effort, right? So more incomes, right? One person, they have the money to, if y'all want to go shopping, y'all go shopping. One person spend all their money on bills, the other person, you know, spend their money on food, and then you still have income coming in, and y'all could work together, right? 2 incomes is better than 1. 3 incomes is better than 2. 4, you get the point. You get the point, right? It's also beneficial for single mothers, right? These fathers' children, they now have a father figure to raise them up, and now they have a community of women to help raise the children, right? Less fatherless children and single mothers, right? Less fatherless children and less single mothers, right? Men are now to take responsibility of their actions, right? And I'm gonna leave you with that. And I just pray that the Most High put it on the sisters' hearts to receive the message and think about it. And there's only so much you can think about, because once you come into this truth, it's either you get with it or you get lost, right? There's a lot of things that brothers in this truth, we have to submit to leadership, and we have to submit to the authority of leadership, and we don't look at it as a burden. We look at it as them watching out for our souls and helping us be groomed to go in the right path, right? I have brothers get on my head like, Kanash, you need to get on it. You need to get on your stuff. And yeah, I had my times where I wanted to buck up or whatever, but I was like, you know what? I had to reflect. I'm not saying it's not going to be there, but I had to reflect. And I had to say, yeah, that brother right. I need to get it right. So I'm going to leave that with you. This has been another Bible Basics with your teacher, Kanash, and my reader.
Aman.
And we say Shalom.
Yeah. This goes out to all my sisters. Keeping the faith.
Jimmy on the beat, boy.
I got all my sisters with me. No hating, envy, or jealousy. Every time we roll deep. Cause I got all my sisters with me.
Where you at? Where y'all at? It's time to come correct. All my sisters, let's connect. Look. Aqua, you ain't gotta lack. No weapon formed against us gonna prosper, that's a fact. Plus, say la soul, got your back. When that devil in your ear, better relax, don't react. We the pillars, we the crowns, we gon' hold our brothers down. Proverbs 31, reppin' till we hear that trumpet sound. What? Sisters of virtue. Don't let this cold world divert you. We the Judas, we Hadassah, we the Boar, we Susanna, we the keepers of our sisters and his laws. It's time to stand up.
I got all my sisters with me. S-O-V. No hating,